Hello and welcome. I'm Angela Meiritz-Reid of Stamping Beauty in Christchurch, New Zealand, and this is the card I created for the Be Inspired blog hop. If you would like to take the hop, please pop over to my blog. I'll pop the link in the description box below. And if you live in New Zealand and would like copies of the current catalogues, please message me. I'd love to send them to you. Right, let's get started. Firstly, I've got a boho blue card base, and I've done it this way, long ways, so that I can pop the little bit of vellum across the back there. It's just an easy way to secure it to the card front. Could also pop a little bit of adhesive under the sentiment if you wanted to fix it firmly. So I've got a little score mark there, so I'll just fold that in half and burnish along there. And I've also got the piece of vellum that's just the size of the front, plus a little bit to just tuck over there and adhere to the back. So we'll do that afterwards, so that once we've adhered the pieces to the front. So we'll just set those all aside. So we want to create all these beautiful dies, and the set I'm using for this, got the Artistically Inked Stamp Set for the sentiment and the artistic dies. So the one I'm using is this one here, this beautiful floral image. So what we need is, the best way to adhere these is with some adhesive sheet. It just makes it so much better. You don't have to try and pop glue onto the back of these intricate die pieces. I'm just going to peel the adhesive backing off that and pop it onto this piece of basic white card. Then I'm going to bring in my die cutting machine. Now, depending on how tight your machine is, they sort of tend to, I find, loosen a little bit over time. Sometimes you need to go back and forward several times, and also even add a shim just to get it cut well. It saves a bit of time at the other end if you cut it really well now. So I've just got a bit of it's photocopy paper, and I'll just pop that on top, and I'll just run that through. So you can see it's quite tight going through, and this sort of thing stretches your machine a little bit too. But just with that adhesive sheet on the back, it does make it a little bit tighter and harder to cut through. So I tend to go through that's the fourth one, so about 6 times I think, just to get a good cut. So I'll bring that in, and then take that off the back so you can see it's cut reasonably well, but the proof will be in the pudding when you take it off. So I'm just going to use my take your pick tool, just poke through those holes, just loosen in a few spots, and then take that off. So you can see a few have been left in, and in both pieces actually. So I've got this foam matting, and I'll just bring my brush in, so that helps take a few more out. Doesn't always get them all out, especially some of these smaller pieces. It does just loosen a few, so anything that helps. Some of those bigger ones come out quite easily. Another thing that this is very good for is getting the pieces out of the die. This saves poking them out all individually. So we'll do that later. I just wanted to show you that. So I'll bring this piece in here, So what also, another way of getting those annoying pieces out, what I find is when you actually take the adhesive backing off, they come with it. A lot of them come. So if you gently take that off, but you'll see some of them are still in there. Not so many, so pretty good result. I just pop my finger behind and they just stick onto, poke it onto there. You could probably do it on something else, but I tend to find that the easiest thing. So that's all of them out now. So now I want to adhere them onto here. I'm not sure if that's how hard that is to see. I'll just pop, just get a bit of coloured cards to pop down. Just be careful not to adhere it onto there. So I've popped this one as about, I want to get as much of that on there as I can. It doesn't have to be exactly like the last one, it just makes it easier sometimes. So just press that down, and then pesky one, I die cut the another two so that you wouldn't have to watch me do that. So this one here, I'm going to pop that one, it's got some little furry bits on it. Those off. Right, and then that one there, I want them to touch so they look like they belong together. They're almost out of one big die. I'm going to pop that onto there. And then a good way of adhering, just rub over the back so you get a good firm stick. Just means, because sometimes when you rub on that, you know, you can disturb things and catch them. That one there didn't poke out. Sometimes I don't worry if things don't poke out, but on this one I did want it to look nice and evenly. The adhesive sheet is, I find, quite forgiving. So I've got those two, then I've got this sheet here, this this other cut here. So I just want to pop that in. I'm going to tuck that in. This one might end up being slightly different to the last one, but it doesn't matter. Tuck that up as close as I can. Then press that down, and then what I'm going to do is cut those pieces off, and then whatever's left over I can use to tuck into that corner. So just turn that over and just trim. Just go that way and then that way, so I can keep it as a reasonably whole piece. And then it's down. So I'm just using the edge of the vellum to line up my scissors. And then just this piece across here. Then I just want to put one last piece in here, so I think that hopefully that will, I think that looks okay. No, that's probably the best way it's going to sit. Fill up that gap. You do end up with little bits of the die cut pieces stuck to you. And then, so it's a reasonably quick card, I think. Once you've got your die cutting done, that's the slowest bit. It's always quite a good TV job. Right, so we've got that now. I'll just bring that in so you can see it here. And I'll just give a final press over just to make sure it's really firmly stuck. And then what I'm going to do is I've got another very slim piece of adhesive sheet, and it's just the length of that. I've actually made it, that piece is a little bit too wide, so I'll just trim that down. Just need to slather off that. Hopefully that should be okay. And then what I'm going to do is just take that, see, apart. You could use tear and tape or something else. I just thought this was quite good because I'm going to cover that whole area and you won't notice if there's any adhesive on it, or it's going to just look uniform on the back of it. So press that on, and I'll bring my piece of cardstock in, and then I'll just take that backing off, put this onto here, and then just tuck that over the edge. Missed a bit of adhesive there maybe. It's okay, it's for all intents and purposes it's stuck, so that's the main thing. And then I need to create the sentiment, and actually that one is a little bit short, so what I might do is just trim that off, just trim the tiniest little piece off on this, so it's hopefully it'll take both sheets at once. Now that's better. Right, so that's good. So now I want to do, as I say, do the sentiment. So I've got a small piece of boho blue. I've got the happy birthday sentiment from that set, my Versamark, and my embossing buddy. So just I'm going to trim this down so it doesn't have to be exactly straight on the centre, but that does help. I've got white emboss powder. Just cover that well. Sometimes, like there's little bits on there that have gone over, so just that pointy bit of the take your pick tool is quite good for just clearing out any little bits that aren't right. Right, I'll just heat that, I won't be a second. I love the white and blue. I just think it looks lovely and smart and fresh. So I just want to trim that down. So I want to leave it, I don't want to make it too tight a trim, so to give a little bit of gap around it. Go in and make it slightly smaller if I need to. That's quite a bit larger than my last one. I'll just cut it down a wee bit more. Doesn't have to be exactly the same, but it was quite a good size, I thought. And the good thing with this little trimmer, it can do just fractions off, which is fabulous. I keep on putting it as asking Stampin' Up to bring them back because they are such a great little tool. So then what I want to do is create my bow, and this boho ribbon, boho blue textured ribbon is beautiful, but it's quite firm. So I found that by trimming it in half and tying it into a bow, it's made it a little bit easier and softer. So I'm just cutting up the middle of that, and I'm not worried about it being straight or anything because it will just get caught up in all the tying and things, so you won't notice, hopefully. And this is 35 centimeters long, the amount I used, which, just turn this over and tell you in inches. It's about 13.5 inches. Then what I want to do is just pop those, see those bits get everywhere, pop those edges together. And if you follow me on Instagram, I've done a wee reel on how I did this too. It's actually one of Tammy Wilson created these bows, and they're just so much fun. So you just need a bit of a tail, and then sometimes it does take a bit of faffing to get your loops where you want them, but bring that out and then twist that around like that, and then you will get bits coming off that too. Then do the same thing down here, twist. See, it does have a bit of a mind of its own, so you just have to be a bit relaxed about those, and then twist that around. Oh, actually I've made the tail too long, so I'll start again. Sometimes it is quite good to have a longer than you need piece so that you can trim off the tails. So that loop again, and then a loop here. You can adjust a little bit after you've finished too. So twist, turn that around there, and then these two pieces here want to go up in the back there, that loop. So let's bring that, oh, there's one gone through, and this one. Sometimes I think it's how you hold your mouth as to whether it works or not. So bring those two pieces through. Then I tend to pop middle finger over that, and then pop those like that, just to keep it disappearing and, you know, getting caught up again. And then you've got your two loops and your, so just give that a bit of a tug. See, it does move a little bit. Actually, I haven't quite got that tight enough. I'll just pop my fingers back in, just give a bit of a tug. So you've got a nice tight knot there in the middle, and then you can sort of play around with those bits. But if you don't like those bits, you can just cut them off. Or I haven't tried this, but quite often you can sort of singe them with some ribbons with the match. Just got to have a bit of a trial and error, because some of them you don't want it going up in flames. So then I've just got a glue dot, and I want that about here. And then I'm just going to pop the bow onto that. And then that's when you can sort of play around and trim these off so they're about similar sort of length to the other bits. And then I want to do the sentiment, which seems to, oh, it's right there, that's why I couldn't find it, on top of the other one. So what I find is, because that's quite a height to avoid, you need a good couple of layers of dimensionals. See, I've popped one on top of the other and just check that that's going to, so even that's a bit tight. So I'm just on this one, it's quite a good knot on the, in the middle of that. I'm going to put 3 layers of dimensionals. Tuck that on there. I want to make sure that's nice and straight from the bottom, just up about there. So you can see that's given it a nice line, and then I can just move these over a bit, manipulate them how I want. Doesn't matter too much, just adds a bit of interest. If it's, by the time it's been in the post, etc, etc, it's going to be, you never know how it's going to end up looking. I might even just trim that just a fraction off, just so it is a bit more even with the ones below. And then lastly, what I want to do is add some of these gorgeous iridescent pearls. These are so pretty. I just thought they were subtle, but you know, added a little bit of sparkle. So just using the putty end, and because this is slightly different to my the first one, see, let's put that on down here. Fingers and thumbs today. And one of the little ones, just pop that on down there, and might even pop a big one in that gap there. 3. So I'll just add a few more, because they just add a little bit more sparkle, and then one up, maybe just up there. And that is my card. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that and beared with me through those little trials and tribulations, but I think it was worth it to get this card. And you know, I think it would look pretty in any of the colours we have. I always think white looks smart with the colours. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.